able to help reach compromise so that neighbor can be a good neighbor. So the process went very smoothly, and they, some of their concerns that they had, they felt were assuaged, and they removed any objections.
Do we have letters from the neighbors?
Yes, there's a letter from them agreeing to the new plans.
We're lacking one, which is the one you said which you'll bring to us.
It sounds like we have letters from surrounding neighbors. We either have letters or notice of mailing, which is what we require.
Yeah, there's one. I have 3 signed letters, 3 notice of the mailings, and then I need to get. I handed one to a woman, but I didn't. She hasn't returned it, so I had to get some.
It'll be conditioned on that.
Mark, aren't some of the trees going to be affected in the front?
Yeah,
And what's going to happen?
there are 2 dogwood trees that are right at the edge of the front porch that are 6 inches, so they'll show up in the plan review by the arborist, but they will be affected, and that we're going to take those out. And then there's another 6-inch tree right here that's proximity to the driveway makes me figure it's probably going to be considered destroyed. Unless we can kind of jog the driveway, but I don't know if we can.
Is there any replacement?
There's not yet. I mean, when constructing documents, we'll submit replacement, but right now we have it. There's a beautiful Japanese maple that's going to be protected right in the front. That shows this. It's in the foreground here. So, I mean, are we going to replace trees? No. I mean, in that the pool's coming out, we're going to have a nice big lawn here where we could plant a couple of trees along this fence line, I think certainly, on the east property line.
Well, if you can show them on your plans that you go downtown, I thought that would be.
The existing 2 dogwoods are within 5 foot of the front of that house. So.
Yeah. And the last thing about the porch is we did have the surveyor survey the distance of the porches, I think 6 houses left and right, and we're right there kind of at the average setback. We're not coming a lot forward from the other porches. 901 is 18.8 feet from the street, and we're going to be 19.1. And then 911 is 26 for the front porch, and then the average is right around 20 feet, and we're at 19.1.
Unless there's any other questions, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the application B12070, conditioned on the site plan currently dated 5/31/12, and that is stamped by the city, and the receipt of the proof of mailing, or the letter to come back from the one neighbor.
Wait, the one you gave us is dated 5/31. The one you just passed out, the one that shows your new revisions?
Right, the revised site plan is 5/31.
I was thinking it was 6.
I thought you said you
Oh,
had.
I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, you haven't filed those.
6/31. Yeah. No, it's 5/31.
Y'all haven't gone downtown.
It's not date stamped. It has my stamp. It has my date on
Condition that
it.
it will be stamped, but
Well, I want to condition that on the signed copy of the plan you're giving us right now, that y'all can sign, and then you'll produce a date stamp plan from the city for the NPU. That's fine, that's routine.
Yeah.
So it's conditioned on that. Okay.
But I think what was just represents
Got it.
my date
Go ahead.
versus the original drawings, which were dated.
Is there a second to this?
second.
Further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And all opposed? All right, you're approved. We will see you guys next week, but you're going to come up with the new revised plan and the, all right, thanks very much, and finish off your letters and get those looked at before the NPU meeting. We don't have to talk about it at the NPU meeting.
Okay, thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Back to you.
Okay, we have one more. SAP 120060, it is the food truck permit, and Elizabeth Hagel, is that right?
She's actually not here. She's on a planned business trip, so I will be here instead of her.
Oh, that's right, you
Yes.
indicated that.
I'm Victoria.
Okay.
Just a quick outline of what we're trying to get the SAP for. It was conditionally approved based on what you guys say on the 8th, this past Friday. What we're trying to do is every Wednesday night from 6 to 9, just bring out a various food truck group, usually less than 9, some savory, some sweet tooth trucks. And the entrance, for safety concerns, will be from North Highland. And once the trucks are there, we'll block it off so there will be no motor vehicle entry when there are pedestrians in the parking lot. We do donate a percentage of our proceeds to the Flux Projects, just a local artist group that they do, I guess, movable artwork throughout the city. It tries to bring artists outside of the normal brick and mortar art setting. Just as a clarification, we do this at 841 North Highland. It's lot 21. It's owned by Mr. Douglas Landau. He has provided the City of Atlanta Planning Bureau with I guess we'll call it contract for his particular restaurants, the Dark Horse and also the Warren, where it's required by the city that they maintain a certain number of parking spaces, which we will leave open for them. It's required that they maintain at least 50 or at least 48, and we've given them 50. Just that'll be completely kept open for their parking and for usage. Now, as a barrier, I know you guys have seen the revised site plan sent by Enrique, but as a barrier, we will be using trucks, so there will be no cross traffic between cars and the trucks themselves. They'll actually be in a U shape with a green area kept in the middle. A lot of families bring their dogs, their children, and they bring these cute little folding chairs, and they set up and have a nice little family night out. We do encourage this as a family setting rather than, you know, something that people travel to. It's most of our business comes from walk-ins. All trash and restroom services are provided also by Mr. Douglas Landau and his neighboring restaurants. Let's see, Betty Cagle, Elizabeth Cagle, is the one in charge of this event. Unfortunately, she could not be here tonight, but I'm hopefully going to stand in for her. So given your approval, hopefully we can move forward to a fully approved SAP with the planning department.
What does SAP stand for?
Special Administrative Permit, I'm sorry.
Okay, and so why are we asking for this now when it's been going on for 6 months?
We just started a few weeks ago.
Is
Unfortunately,
this a different thing than what we've been having?
This different than what was last year.
It's only been going a few weeks.
I've been going to it for months.
It stopped in late fall, and then it's picked up again.
But it's a whole
I think
other
beginning
thing.
of
Every
May.
year we do
It's a
this?
whole new organizer. Mr. Landau, unfortunately, there were some complications last year, and so he brought in a new event organizer this year. And unfortunately, through some miscommunication between various city departments, it was not communicated to her the proper permitting that she did need. So we did submit this SAP application a month ago, and it was conditionally approved on the 8th based on the community's reaction to what we're trying to do.
Actually, Gloria, I think in this case it's utterly pretty dang minutes if the city's is developing, shall we say, its techniques for dealing with this phenomenon, which isn't that old in this city, although it's much more developed others. Enrique Vasconana, the planner that handled it, communicated with us at great length, was very concerned about it before and after, and provided a lot of information, including the confirmation of the 48 parking places, which is an interesting piece to confirm. So, I mean, I really feel like I think they actually did their very best, and we didn't.
No, I mean, I'm just surprised.
That's it. It's only been a few weeks. We get the irony. They came to us for approval of something on the afternoon while it was going on that evening. But that's okay. Life goes on. It's full of rich irony here. But they tried real hard. Go ahead,
But that
Fraser.
was the fault of the city, the way I understand
I
it.
believe it was the fault of the city, not of the applicants, who, as best we can figure out, made a good faith effort to do what was right. It's very unclear what was right. Fraser.
Is your organization responsible for that building that now sits in the middle?
It was explained to me and Ms. Cagle by Douglas Landau that the parking, that they put that up as a protective structure to keep people from something that is inside of it. It used that, I mean, it was,
The answer is no.
so no, I mean, it was explained to me that there used to be a gas pump. There were concerns by, I think it was
The answer is no.
environmental.
Good enough. Do we have any other questions for this poor woman?
They don't really know, Doug doesn't even really know what's there for, they said he filled it.
She's not responsible. She didn't know it. It's weren't her. If we're going to ask questions and Mr. Landau's responsible for it, won't be that one. Is there any other questions or comments for the? All right. Thank you very much. Lola, do you have a motion for us?
Sure. I make a motion that we approve SAP 120060. Are there any conditions on it? I don't think so.
No, they're not. I'll second that. Any further comment from the board? I'd like to add this, that Enrique asked us if we would communicate our opinion to him right away, and I'd like the board's consent to do that. He's actually trying to get the ducks lined up here, and the NPU will deal with it next week, but it's taking a while, so with the board's consent, I'm going to communicate directly our feelings, whatever they are, as expressed in the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? All right, thank you. It's unanimous. Thank you for coming. Good luck. Let us know what's under that building.
Jack?
Yes.
Yes, more stuff?
Oh, no, I wasn't waiting.
All right, well, let's go on then to, we're going to skip.
I was just going to say, maybe the planning commission could extend a note of sympathy to Mr. Mandel for the problems he's had with the city and getting this.
Actually,
I know he has a hard time.
I don't think it was even his problem. It was the applicants who were really trying to figure it out. It seemed like they gave it a go. It really does sound utterly innocent as we heard the story. They're just trying to connect, and he's just happened to be the address.
Well, there wasn't a wall there until recently.
That's correct. That's correct.
That was one of the problems.
You need us to go past you, Walden? Are you ready, or?
Oh, no.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, oh, no. All right, we'll pass over to John Howell for a minute and go on to Summerfest. Want you?
New Highland Park?
Oh, sure, New Highland Park.
Okay. We met last week with the contractor to go over some of the, real detailed specs of the plans, make sure he completely understood, as there were some minor revisions after we, went down to the city for UDC approval, such as we expanded the seat wall, so it's now double the original plan, and we're using granite dust instead of little pebbles because they're better for wheelchairs, and that was one of the UDC requests. So little things like that. The next step would be this Thursday morning, we're going to meet with the electrician because we need to figure out exactly where we want the electrical box to be and make sure he completely understands all the details. And then after this week, hopefully we can do the paperwork on the contract and start construction by July 1st. That's our target date.
Awesome.
So, and we've raised, including our grant, about $150,000 in just selling bricks and donations and the auction and the plant sale and the fundraisers that we've kind of just had along the way. So when we look at the final numbers, I think we'll have just enough. We'll see.
Is the brick sale still going on? Is that
You may buy a brick.
Come buy a brick.
Give me $100 tonight before you leave, and I'll put you on the list. But we are going to have to order the bricks in about a week, so it has to stop.
Okay.
Do we want to do one last push on an e-blast, last chance for a brick? And just
We should. We should. Let's do that. I'll get Brian some copy. And then Paul Burks is going to send some letters to the residents in Atkins Park asking for final donations, kind of like what we do with Orem, to get a little incremental money, so we've got a contingency. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much. VHCL?
That was
VHCL?
report. Rod, where's Rob?
He wouldn't talk to those.
I sent him an email, but we're curious about getting the results from the road race, which was for
Why
VHCL
don't
John
you
Howard.
post that when he gets back? You want to go on to Summerfest?
Sure.
Is there anything to report?
Well, I think it's going to be our best year financially ever. And Ann Guy, our co-director, was here. First of all, I think you'd say the same thing. We really like working together. And we love working with every single person on our committee. And helped recruit a whole bunch of new people this year. Primarily it was you who did the recruiting. But boy, did we have a solid team this year. Arturo Cruz Tucker earned $5,000 from Kids Fest. That's the most ever. I mean, that's net. That's after paying the DJ, everything else. And her store, did you see the recycle shop?
yeah.
We earned the most money ever on the store this year as well for from my initial estimations, $4,500 net. That's after t-shirt costs. That's including leftover t-shirt costs. I mean, everything. $4,500, which is the most. That's like definitely the most ever by almost double.
Power of good design.
Yeah, and we
There's no
sold
question
out
about
of the t-shirts on Sunday early, right? The
And
gray
the gray
ones,
one sold out.
because they were really popular again this year, so, you know, still waiting on the road race income, but Rob said that we sold, because the weather was so nice and there were so many people, he said we sold as much in beverages the first day
This
as
is
we
Rob
did
Frazier.
all of last year. Yeah, Rob Frazier from
Yeah.
Premier Events, as we did all of last year. So for my estimate main purposes, we still don't have the total beverage revenue or the total beverage cost or all the operations costs, but I probably have about, I don't know, 75% of actual costs except for beverage costs. And so I just kind of went and did some estimates based on what we earned in road race last year, what I expect from Artist Market, and I assumed that our beverage sales would be 40% higher than last year, which I think is conservative. And I assumed same cost of goods, but I think our cost of goods are going to be actually lower. So anyway, based on my estimate at this point, I think this will be the best year ever. We could exceed 150 this year. Could. A lot of caveats on that, but we could even do better. So yeah.
Good for you.
So yay!
Can I throw one little additional accolade? Pam doesn't like to brag on herself, but she also traded the sponsorships, and this is the highest ever that we had for the neighborhood sponsorships as well, which was entirely her baby. So I think the total amount on that was
$17,500.
$17,500. Last year we had about 10. So that's a lot of hand-holding at some of these mom and pop businesses to hit over $1,500. So she did a great job with that.
So you covered the extra expense there, Dave.
Yeah, we certainly covered that, and the neighborhood sponsors, they were pretty, a lot of them, you know, had returned from last year. So, you know, some of them are a little high maintenance, but for the most part,
Name names.
I think they're all going to want to come back next year.
Ryan,
So,
Well, I also want to, I just want to point something out that, does anybody know what the average weather was this year? The weather was this year in relation to average? It was just average. It wasn't even cooler than normal, it was just average.
Just last year was so.
We just
So
remember
bad
it
for
being
so many
so
years
hot.
recently that it was out of,
Yeah.
that this felt like heaven on earth. And
Yeah.
well, great job, Pam. Well done, Ann. Well done. Well done to everybody in the committee. You can't beat a harmonious group at work. That was fantastic performance. We will move on to Nicole in education.
Did you want to ask? Do you want to check with Rob about the
No.
race?
Oh, on the VHCA report, I was just saying, I sent you an email on this, I don't know if you got it yet or not, but we were wondering what the race proceeds were and if you had that yet.
I still have a couple checks that are going in and out, so no, I don't.
So are we gonna, should we put it on the next agenda or?
The agenda for,
Well, I don't
Do you
know,
want-
when
what do
will we
you
know?
mean, what is it on the agenda for? I mean,
Was
it's a
the
donation to
VHCA?
the VHCA.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have, I've got a child coming in 2 weeks and I don't
Well, that's
have it done yet. So,
Okay, so maybe we'll know by the next time.
Okay.
Okay, great.
All right, we're going to go on to,
I didn't know about the bad connection.
okay, that's what we will go on to Nicole and the education bills.
This is just very briefly, I wanted to share the goals for the education committee, which hopefully will be in place in the next couple of weeks. So we have just a few months left this summer to get some things done, but the goals for the committee include informing the neighborhood on issues that impact our local schools. So things like redistricting, changes in the Atlanta Public School budget, capacity challenges, which is we really are going to be feeling in all three of the Virginia-Highland neighborhood schools. Collaborating with our local schools, and talking with them about grants, ways that we can support them, and working with other neighborhoods within the cluster to strengthen schools. The plan is the education committee, so those are the top 3 goals. To meet those goals, we'll begin, we'll post meetings for our neighborhood and in collaboration with other neighborhoods. We'll oversee and make recommendations to the board for grants to the neighborhood schools, and hopefully get Ryan some content on a somewhat regular basis for the boys. That's it.
Okay, what we need, because this is a new, in effect, a new committee, we'll talk about it in another context in a minute. It's not really a new committee, but it's not in our official list. And I think we've decided to try to memorialize it going forward in the next year. So at the last meeting, you were asked to have formal goals, which we have for every other committee. And so those, I understand, are your, if I understand it right, those are your goals. Can you state them for us briefly here? And we'll put them in the form of a motion and let the board consider them.
So informing the neighborhood on issues that impact our schools, the local neighborhood schools, to collaborate with our local neighborhood public schools to solve problems and support positive change, and to work with other neighborhoods within our cluster, which right now is the great cluster. Hopefully will be for the foreseeable future.
Let's hope so. And what are your immediate the actions that
the immediate actions to achieve these goals are to host meetings for our neighborhood and in collaboration with other neighborhoods, to oversee and make recommendations to the board for grants, and to contribute to the voice in the VH list.
So is that in the form of a motion for those be the education goals?
Yes.
I'll second that motion. Is there any discussion from the board? Questions from the floor? We all in favor, please raise your hand. And it is unanimous, I think. It is. Where do you see what she's doing with the dogs? All right, let's go on to sidewalks, to safety, and we're going to start with Ms. Berg and the sidewalks update and a proposal.
So we've been working on sidewalks, the sidewalk committee and myself have been working on sidewalks for about 6 months now. And I'd like to start tonight with a definition. There's actually a definition of what is a public good. And public goods are things that are non-excludable and non-rival. Non-excludable means